Good afternoon, everyone. Today is March 28th, 2011. It is 12 p.m. noon. This is the Student Senate General Assembly meeting for the Student Senate of Johnson County Community College. I will now entertain a motion after we review and adoption of last week's minutes and also an adoption of this week's agenda. First for last week's minutes. And really quickly, I do want to make a quick adjustment to the agenda before we do take the adoption of this week's agenda, so we can approve the minutes first and then continue on to listen to the refund. Can I have a second? Okay, thank you. Now, for the adoption of this week's agenda, we also will be moving up some things. The International Club budget request will be first on the agenda, and then the Exec Board candidate introduction will follow it. After which the constitutional review will take third, and then the Dollars for Scholars will take fourth. With that said, I will now take an adoption of this week's agenda.
Motion to adopt.
All right, passes. Okay. So I will now yield over, seeing how we don't have any guests today, I will now yield over 10 minutes to the treasurer.
Thank you,
Treasurer.
The Budget Committee received a budget request from the International Club to go on a trip to Niangua. So, Eric, if you could just please stand up and give the club a brief presentation on what this trip is going to be about.
All right. Every semester, spring, International Club has a trip to Niangua Falls. It's a river. With that, we go on a trip and then we go visit some caves. On our way back, and the trip, it's all about combining indoor experiences and outdoor experiences, since most of the students are, like come in a big city, but they don't have that experience with nature, and some of international students really we do not know anything about America, so all we see is these big buildings. Every day we come to school and go back home. So the trip exposes both of us as international student and local student to have such a nice experience. One of the major goals for the trip is team building. I remember before going to that trip, I was a lonely person, didn't talk to anybody, didn't know anybody. But after the trip, it made me who I am today. I'm engaged, I know lots of people, I'm the president, but all of that, it came throughout the trip. So I believe it has good fruits out of it. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. Do any of the senators have any questions for the International Club on the request? Okay. Nobody has to step out, but I'll just go ahead and read this. So the International Club is requesting money to take 21 members from their group on a trip down to Niangua to visit the caves of Missouri. They have done several great activities around the campus, such as bake sales, harvesters, clothing drive for Don Bosco, and they also have done activities in the community, such as being ballet ushers for the Nutcracker downtown. And they opened up 2 of their times to other clubs on this campus, so that they could also fundraise money, and they've done 2 car washes. This trip leads people to becoming better leaders and expands networking opportunities, but also serves as a reward for what this group has done all year. It exposes many international students to opportunities that they wouldn't get otherwise. The actual cost for this trip is going to be $1,688.40, but International Club is willing to contribute $1,000 from their own fundraising efforts into this trip. That leaves our total request from Student Senate down to $688.40, or $32.78 per member, up to 21 members attending. We, the Budget Committee, recommend that the Student Senate fund International Club 87% of their total request, which is $598.92, or $28.52 per member, up to 21 members attending. If this amount is funded, then there's a difference of $89.48, which is a little less than a $5 contribution from each person going on this trip. Are there any questions so far? I just want to call to attention that all Senate members affiliated with the International Club must abstain their votes. all Senate members that are affiliated with the International Club have to abstain their votes. So you cannot vote yes, you cannot vote no, you have to abstain.
Okay.
Right, so, if there are no questions, we'll go into voting. All of those in favor of funding?
We're going to have a little bit of a detour, Mr. Treasurer, that we didn't expect. Can I get a show of hands really quickly of all senators who are in an international club? Exactly what we thought. All right, which means that we're going to have a little bit of a fun Constitution Day today, ladies and gentlemen. Since we have 5 voting members of an international club within the General Assembly of the Senate, what will have to happen right now is I will ask for the Senate to approve a fixed 2/3 majority to allow for me to entertain an executive session vote where the executive board present will vote on the budget request for international club as we did before with Ethiopian club, and I believe that was also international club before as well. So unfortunately, international club isn't gaining any blood this year with having the votes needed right out. So if that is at all possible, if anyone needs that read from the Constitution, I will read it from the Constitution as to where that granted power is given to the President. And if not, then we can go over the voting procedure and clarification. Senator.
Why do we have to give you the clause to do that?
Because there's no other voting procedure that we can do. So what we can do is this. As the Constitution says, that the President has the right to exercise all special powers granted to him or her by a fixed 2/3 vote of the Student Senate. What I can do is allow for that. If you give me the 2/3 vote, fixed majority, from what is allowed to vote here in the Senate, those excluding the 5 senators, what we can do as the executive board is decide on whether or not we will fund them, as we did before. It's just a way of voting, it's a way of them having a clear answer, and it's a way of us picking up without us having a coercive forum here on the floor.
So how many members do we need to?
Secretary?
Right now, we need 13 members of Senate who are not affiliated with the International Club present in order to be able to vote. Right now, we have 11. We have 13, we need 12, we only have 11.
We have notably 2 senators who we needed here.
Right, had they been here, we would have had 13, we only needed 12.
Actually, one of those, Amir, is actually affiliated with International Club as well, so he would have to abstain.
Okay, then we would have been right at our limit. 12.
I understand that this is not ideal, the ideal voting situation, but I mean, we've run into this roadblock before, and in the event is when, Mr. Treasurer?
This is in the end of May.
I'd really rather not put this off another week with not knowing how many senators we could have, less or more. So that's why I think it is highly encourageable on behalf of the executive board. I think it's pretty safe to say that we go on and kind of take care of this today, if that's at all possible. So, Mr. Treasurer, what I will allow for you to go on and do is I will ask that you entertain a motion to ask those senators who are able to vote and that are not in the club to vote as a 2/3 fixed majority, either yes, no, or abstention, to allow for us as an executive board to take this into executive session and make a decision from there.
Okay. So may I have a motion from the floor to have a 2/3 majority to vote yes or no, so the executive board can vote for this decision. So all those in favor for having the executive board make the decision on the National Club, please raise your hand.
Do we forward, we have some?
6, sorry. That's included, that's yes.
Any noes and abstentions?
Secretary, that passes. All right, it passes. So this will be decided in executive session. After it is decided and the executive session is complete, we will then, the treasurer will then notify those members of the International Club of our decision. Mr. President, I am sorry for that. And to other members of the club and organization, I also apologize for that on behalf of the Student Senate. So, thank you. Mr. Treasurer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. With that said, we will now move into our exec board candidate introduction, and I will actually give that to the Vice President with his 15 minutes. Yes.
here's the fun part. All right, so I sent out an email, and everyone who's running for an executive position was contacted by me and was given the guidelines for kind of like what today was going to go down like. And so just to kind of give all of you guys an idea, some of the priorities that need to be met to run for these positions. You have to declare your intent to become a full-time student throughout the duration of your term in office. A JCCC cumulative 2.5 GPA. You have to have leadership experience, may it be through Cavalier Leadership Development Program. You can either be a graduate or you can be attending it now. And if those are not met, then by a 2/3 majority vote, you can get that waived and with pleading the leadership experience that you may have had in the past to take the place of the program, and then be allowed on the ballot. That's for all positions, and then for particularly, I can't say that word, particularly the president and vice president. Candidate for president and vice president cannot concurrently serve as an intern for student activities or as an editor for the campus ledger. So we don't have any of those problems right now. And then have at least a minimum at least 1 semester of experience in the event that there is no room for additional centers to join the student government. And from now, I'm now going to entertain a motion to begin the speeches. I'll give you a little more information on that. Each of you running will have 2 minutes, and only 2 minutes, for a speech presented in the order of parliamentarian, treasurer, secretary, vice president, and president. And then once 2 minutes is reached, you will be stopped if you're still going. And speeches would obviously pertain to whatever you guys are running for, standing for. If any of you guys have any of those issues that you don't meet some of those requirements, you need to touch on those within your speech. And then following all speeches, we'll take a 2/3 majority vote. For anyone who doesn't have the leadership development program experience or wants to substitute with the leadership experience. And then if the president or vice president have any issues with any of those requirements, then it's a majority vote that overrides that. So with that being said, I will first open it up for parliamentarian, and we had 1 person running for parliamentarian, I believe. Okay, and it's Amir, and he actually has a dentist appointment today, so he couldn't be here. It's kind of an emergency, last minute. So I'm going to read his word for word. These are the words of Amir. Sorry guys that I can't be here today. Trust me, I'd rather be here in the dentist office. The main reason that I am running again is that I enjoy every second of working with my fellow students. Based on the year in Senate, I have learned a lot about the parliamentarian position. I am hoping that I can continue to apply those experiences to upcoming student Senate. This year we built the connection between the Student Green Committee and the Student Sustainability Committee. Next year we are planning to accomplish bigger projects with the help of the SSC. To those of you who have served or are serving on my committees, I would thank you, especially Jeremy, for all the hard work. I look forward to continuing our goals and helping the JCC community continue to become a better place. Cooler, I love you, Amir. Sorry I didn't do it in an equal accent or anything. That's his speech that he had for us today. And next we will go on to the treasurer position, which would be Gina. I think it's just you. So we'll start the clock when you're ready.
Do you want me to stand up?
You can do whatever you like.
Okay, I'm Gina. Hopefully you all know me by now. I thought a lot about applying for the position of the treasurer. It was, and after being involved with the budget committee, and I have really enjoyed working with him. He has done a wonderful job. And I'm really hoping to continue his work and further try to make more and bigger plans and advance the position and the committee further. I'm hoping to get more budget requests done next year with more clubs being served. And I will be always open to discussion and collaboration with the students and any issues that arise, or if you have any suggestions, I will always be open to discuss about it. I'm currently the leadership development program, the Cavalier Leadership Development Program, and I do meet the GPA requirements and all the other requirements for the position. I'm really organized and I work hard for any project. I'll give 100% to this, and I really hope to serve you well, and I really appreciate this opportunity and the faith you've put in me. I've really tried to help as much as I could with the Senate, and I will continue to do so for the treasurer position. So,
Thank you, Gina. And we'll keep all questions for the very end of everyone after the speeches and keep it kind of fair. Next up, we'll have the two people running for vice president position, and we'll go in alphabetical order. So we'll start with Alicia and then Eric.
Ladies first.
Hi, my name is Alicia Nichols, and I'm running for vice president, obviously. As far as being qualified, I am a full-time student and plan to continue being a full-time student, so that shouldn't be an issue. As far as the leadership development program, I have not been able to attend. However, I have several examples of life experiences. For one, at my job, I was actually handpicked to be one of the certified trainers to help train current employees and employees on how to do different corporate policy and such. I did head up the Photos of Santa event this last semester, and I think that was a pretty big success. And then on a continuous basis, I every week help out with our church's youth program and help to lead the young people into making better decisions and staying involved in the community and such. I have been in Senate for 2 years, and I think that insight will give me a good experience as far as where we've come from and where we need to go. And I have also worked closely with several of the exec board members in both years. Some of the things that I would like to see that in this next upcoming year is a better flow of communication, because I think that's pretty key in running a student government. And I'd love to see bigger presence of the Senate.
Thank you. All right, Eric.
Oh. Hi, my name is Eric Bembati. Okay, as far as the qualifications, I think I'm good with that. I'm in the SG9 in the Cavalier Leadership Program. The GPA, I'm good on that. Speaking also on the leadership, okay, one of the major reasons why I wanted to run for this position is that this year will be my last year here, so I really wanted to give something back to my college. So me being in that office, I hope I'll do many things. One of them will be strengthening what we already have, Center for Student Involvement, the Interclub, and what I would like to see is that all the clubs growing and growing, and I hope more students will get into clubs. In that way, we'll have communication between clubs, students, and the college in the long run. So that is one of my major goals, as if I get elected to be the VP.
Okay, and now moving on to our president positions. We have 2 people running. We'll go first with Corey and then Kevin.
All right. Well, first off, I do meet the GPA requirements. Although I have not been in the Cavalier Leadership Development Program, I have had leadership experience with being in student senate and student government for the 8 of the last 10 years of my school life. Also, with that said, I also worked in DC under the Center for Progressive Leadership and their leadership program for 3 months straight over the past summer, which I successfully completed that. So if there's leadership that you're worried about, pretty safe to say that I think I kind of covered that. I've also served as your president. One major thing that's very important, I think that should be said, is this. Not everyone is going to agree with your president. Not everyone's going to agree with leadership style. But at the end of the day, I can actually say that as president of the Student Senate, I have done everything within my power that I felt was right on behalf of our school, on behalf of our community. As president, I've left the school and I've also gone out to our community to forge new relationships, not only with those who live in our communities and our outlying communities, but with our different schools and their student governments, with our NAACP, our Chamber of Commerce, our foundation here. I've also worked very closely and very heavily with other schools and other presidents outside of our state. I see the vision, I understand what needs to be done, I want to continue what we've started this year, I want to continue to include everybody in the conversation. I feel that I am inept and I'm ready to be president once again, and with your help and with your vote, I understand that we can make that happen. So I appreciate the moment given and the time given from the election committee, and I hope to serve here again as your president for another term. Thank you.
Go to Kevin next.
Okay. I'm Kevin. I've been the senator here for the past semester, as this is my first year at JUCO. I feel that everyone who's running for executive board and everyone as a senator really hopes to enrich our campus and as a whole, especially with clubs and community service projects. But the message I really want to focus on here is getting more voice back from our students. I feel that as a Senate, we do a great job of working with clubs, but I really hope we get more feedback back through the student populace in general. We're very closed off as it is, and I think once we get the messages of what our real campus wants to do. I mean, I think that we could do this through several different means. I mean, right now our Facebook presence is starting to get there, but we could definitely do a lot more with it. And we have these boxes, like had been brought up a few meetings ago, that are never collected. And actually, I did find out recently that they were collected, but information was never really passed on through the rest of us about that. And that's kind of one of the main things I want to do. Another thing, Cavalier Leadership Program, unfortunately, due to scheduling conflicts, I had not been able to quite be a part of this semester, but I do hope to take it next semester as part of that. I've been, as far as leadership experiences have gone, I've been in executive boards through various clubs and organizations throughout high school, including Amnesty International, been part of Youth Congress, Model UN, a few other things like that. So I feel like I've got a significant leadership experience in the past in school, as well as becoming a team trainer at my current job at Target. I've been going on for 3 years there to help train and orient new team members into their job as electronics. I think that's just about it. I want to say that look forward to seeing you guys all next year, as I do plan on running as senator next year as well. And I'll be here for a while, heavily invested in the school. I'd like to see how it expands and broadens in years to come.
All right, and I made a boo-boo. I skipped over secretary, and we do have one person running for secretary. I knew that, but it was completely. But we have Exec running for.
Alright. Well, I want to run for executive board as secretary because I like to be involved in campus and I want to make a difference since next year will be my last year here. I think I'll be good as secretary because I'm very organized. I'm very dedicated to whatever I do. I just want to do the best I can, and I want to stick to the goals that I have in mind. As far as leadership experience goes, I've been in the Cavalier Leadership Experience program already. I've been in the Hispanic Leadership Opportunity Program. I've done Leadership Cadre, and the list goes on and on. I don't want to bore you, but as far as my goals for next year as secretary, I plan to see if I can have an impact on the campus ledger, to see if we can do some kind of like Senate announcement, so that other people can see like what the progress of the Senate is doing and stuff. I also, as he said, I also want to get the students' voice like counted on. I want to see if we might continue the Senate table idea, or to see if we put more boxes, because the other one, like the one box that there is, like barely anybody knows about it, and we need to get some feedback from the students. And as a matter of fact, when I was getting my 50 signatures, I approached this girl. She was reading a book, and then I told her, I introduced myself and everything, and I told her what my goals are. And she brought up that, she told me, she's like, oh, I'm glad you actually brought this up, because right now I'm going through a lot of stress because I didn't meet the deadlines of FAFSA and a lot of scholarships. So she said she would like to see some improvements around the campus as far as like deadlines go. And I mean, it's a little detailed, but it's something that we can improve on. And look forward to next.
Your deadline. Okay. So from here, we will go. We'll ask questions if there are any questions on the floor. Feel free to ask them to anyone who's running.
Mine goes to those running for vice president. How would you guys improve on the interclub relationship with other organizations? How would you enhance student participation in clubs?
Like my point on communication, if you don't know how to communicate effectively between people and make it clear what it is your intentions are, it's a problem that I see that our school has. It's a pretty big problem. I think if we were to communicate effectively between clubs and students, I think we would have more involvement and a better understanding of what it is that we as a Senate are doing. And I think also finding ways to inspire students to be more involved, I think, is key.
First of all, I do understand that we do have clubs and organizations here, but most of the students don't know that clubs do exist. So one of the first things that I would like to see is that every new student who comes to the college, they will be introduced that we do have such and such clubs. And it won't be necessary that every student has to go into clubs, but at least they'll know. That'll be the first thing. And if we have bigger population of people knowing about clubs, that means more and more people will be involved in clubs. Hence, we'll have more people staying in the college. But how would we, let me see, how the Senate and the clubs come together? We already have interclub. We meet every Monday, and we do have clubs, and clubs talk to us their problems, and we try to solve them. And the current VP does a very good job in that, and I'll continue doing what he's doing. And if we need to strengthen anything, I believe we do have good ideas here and incorporate everything together.
Any other questions?
Can I ask to the president, candidates running for president, one of the things that will start being a senator for the past year is the involvement, Senate involvement by the senators themselves. It's kind of low, and it's one of those things that we need to really curb and kind of increase Senate involvement. So, as a candidate running for president, how would you improve Senate involvement within the Senate itself? And strengthen the whole executive board and the strength as a whole.
Well, first thing you have to understand with that is that you can't increase and improve on Senate involvement unless you improve on the school involvement. Meaning that we have to have more senators and more candidates for the Senate involved, to want to be involved. We have, how many students? About 26,000 here on campus, and we only have about 30, 40 students wanting to run for student senate each year. We have to first make that awareness out and how important student senate is to all the other students on campus, and then also bring them in. Once they are in on the Senate and they are senators, we want to keep them actively involved by giving them more work, by making sure that they have more responsibility and that they have more tasks to work on hand. I think that's something that everyone can actually say that they've seen at best throughout each and every single one of our committees, is where each executive board member has actually given the senators work to do so that they go out and stay involved that way. I understand that the frustration comes around that end point of the next semester, the changing of the semester, but we have to understand that the more work that we keep them involved with, the more work we give them, the more that we allow for them to do the ideas that they have and that they want to see done, the more that they are involved and the more that we are being productive.
And once again, I feel like this goes back to our message on trying to get more community outreach out there. I feel like, like Corey was saying, once you have more people active and involved with the campus, we can have more senators, we can have a bigger base. But also, I think it really, I think we have some excellent ideas that are brought forth to us in the Senate. We just really need to work on organizing and making sure we implement these ideas with better. You know, we have a few, like Corey had an awesome idea about Mr. Cavalier leadership, Mr. Cavalier pageant. But we just need to get these great ideas put together and actually solidify them, organize them, and make sure they're actually implemented. You know, because there are some great ideas in it. Just need to make sure they work out well.
I have a question for both the presidential candidates.
Amir said he had a question before.
All right, sorry. Go ahead.
You go ahead,
Somebody just ask a question.
All right, over here.
All right, I want to ask each of you guys to name one thing, one strategy that you plan to use to increase the Senate involvement. Not just speak about how we need to increase it, but actually name one strategy that you plan to use to increase Senate involvement. We'll start first. Sure.
Kind of like I touched base earlier, I think if we get more of these suggestion boxes out there, you know, if we get more advertising on maybe the TVs and we get more Facebook presence and more online mass media, I think that would definitely help with Senate and student involvement in general. So I think that'd be a great strategy for getting more involvement.
So paraphrase what you're saying. The increasing the presence and awareness of student Senate throughout the school will help increase the senators' involvement in the Senate.
Yes.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, to piggyback off of what the senator said, I definitely agree. But I think the other thing that is a major component which we're missing out on is this. I know when I was in high school, I was in middle school going to high school, the way they got me involved in all the extracurricular activities in high school was that they came to my school to visit me. And they caught me when I was in student government in middle school to prepare me and encourage me to go into it in high school as well. We see this happening at Kansas City, Kansas Community College, where they go to their high schools in the area and they talk to their prospective students who are in the many different clubs and organizations there as well, to come in and be a part of those clubs and organizations at Kansas City, Kansas Community College. We see it at other schools across the country, such as University of San Diego, Virginia Commonwealth. So we implement that here, where we have our students coming in for junior and senior day, and we also have our our tour givers going out to the schools. I think that we could really increase there. The other thing is that we underestimate the power of our classes. We can ask our teachers and our instructors of just about anything, but we don't. And I think if we increase that, and they know the best students in their class and who would be best to serve in any position whatsoever, I think that's also increasing, and they can pinpoint who's best to come and be a part of this great organization.
Thank you.
Then I'll give the last question to Amir so we can kind of wrap this up.
Well, my question goes out to the parliamentarian. He's not here today. I'll switch to the president. President, I have a question for you. How will you work at keeping Senate's name out there and alive without the help of the PR? Because the Public Relations Committee is there to help us reach out to public organizations, but you're essentially our ambassador. So how will you do it? Go ahead.
Thank you. One thing that I've done this year as president is this. If you've noticed this, not just people in our school know the name of the Student Senate, but people outside the school know the name of the Student Senate. I like to, what I first did when I first was elected last year, I went around to all the clubs and organizations and their advisors and introduced myself that way. I started to incorporate and spend time before I left over the summer here and meet the new students that were coming in. As a matter of fact, Alex, when you were a new student at the school, I called him in DC to help get him involved in Student Senate. We had about a 30-minute personal talk. What we have to do is be more personal with them. We have to engage more. We have to be more people persons, I guess you could say. And the other thing is this. One thing that's very, very, very important that I don't think was utilized in previous Senates is not enough of us figureheads, I guess you could say, or us ambassadors, go out enough to actually sit down and meet and hear what's going on. I can't tell you enough stories of how many people I've met who have had problems with tuition. And what we've done is gone to go get them help with Margie Char up in financial aid. Or people, even instructors, who had questions about their class or difficulty in trying to figure out what was going on in the Board of Trustees meeting. As president, I went out to help them and to sat down with them in meetings and help them understand what was coming up and what's going on. It's very important that we step out of our box, and it's very important, I think, to finish up, that we have to always be available to the people. And that's one thing that I've done as president, is always to stay available, not to just those here on campus, but to those outside campus as well.
And while I agree definitely with Corey that we should have a more personal relationship with our campus and our student body at whole, I think definitely we need to start working with better relations with our media outlets in school. I mean, reasonably, I love that you go out and you help out people, but you can't reach 23,000 students, person to person. If we work better with Campus Ledger, we work better with our ECAV radio, which is slowly but surely building up an audience, TV outlet, and also, we proposed this a few meetings back. We had an idea for tabling. A Senate tabling event would be great. That would be really helpful in trying to get everything set up.
Thank you all for your questions and comments. From here, we will go to the voting procedure for people who don't meet the Capital Leadership Development Program experience. So first off, we'll start with Corey. So we'll need a 2/3 majority vote to for his leadership experience to overtake that requirement.
Our candidate stepping out, Mr. Vice President. Our candidate stepping out. Another room for the vote.
As well. Traditional.
That's what I was saying now. Thank you. Yes.
It's all candidates. All candidates, it would be Alicia, Kevin, and Corey. You're fine. Just need a little stretch. Okay, so now I will entertain a motion to start the voting process for, first off, we'll start with Alicia. So those of you who are in favor of her leadership experience, replacing her Cavalier Leadership Development Program, I guess, attendance on that
What
group.
was it that her leadership
Yeah,
experience was, other than the church thing? She said something about with work. What do we know what it was.
Training employees to
For,
just policy and probably ins and outs of. I know she works at Chick-fil-A, so.
oh, okay, okay.
Any other questions? So all those in favor of allowing Alicia on the ballot? That'll pass more than 2/3. And then next, Kevin, and he did not meet the Cavalier Leadership Development Program requirement, but he did,
Was training employees in his job at Target, correct?
yes.
Okay.
He also said, I wrote it all down. He also said that he has served on e-boards on groups such as Model UN and Amnesty, and plans on taking the leadership program next fall.
So all those in favor of allowing Kevin Clark on the ballot? And then last but not least, Corey. He also did not meet that requirement, but he gave us other leadership experiences, so life experiences, everything. So all those in favor for allowing Corey Paris on the ballot? Very cool. Someone could let Corey, can you let him back in? That's for all of you, so you're all on the ballot. Just to kind of give you all kind of how this is all going to work out, the little itinerary for the rest of the elections. And I sent this out in email to everyone, so you guys all have this to look at. But pretty much this whole week will be kind of the time for candidates to start running their political campaign and going around and really interacting with students, let them know who you are, put your posters out, your flyers, pretty much anything within the campaign guidelines that you guys got in the sheets, and Mindy has extra copies of those.
Can I say one thing about any flyers or posters that you guys want to have posted on campus? You do have to go through the Center for Student Involvement, so you need to bring them there. We'll check to make sure there's no errors or anything like that, and then we have to take it to the info desk to get posted.
Keep that in mind. So that'll be mostly this week, and then this following week, April 5th, 6th, and 7th will be elections, and the ballot boxes will be held at column 2.0 at the top of the stairs. And this will be open from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and again from 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. That Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. Also on our Facebook Student Senate page, Johnson County Community College Student Senate Facebook page. There's a JCCC link, but that's an older one. There will be a link for people to go through an online voting process, and all they would need is their ID to get in, and then their password, and then it will take them to the page where they can do the voting process. And just to let you guys kind of know, if you guys haven't voted before, there are always write-ins. So if any of you, even out there on campus, would like to campaign as well and meet the requirements, for those of you that are in the Senate and still meet the requirements for president or vice president, you can still run for those. You just have to let people know who you are and have them type in your name. And then the other positions, such as secretary, treasurer, and parliamentarian, are open to all full-time students. they are available to run for those through write-ins as well, as long as they meet those specific qualifications. That is pretty much all I had for elections. I know it's a lot to take in one day, and I appreciate all of the candidates that are running and gave your 2 cents, and all the senators that have questions for them. Yes. We'll now move into our next item on our agenda, which will be Dollars for Scholars. I worked a lot over the weekend on Senate shenanigans, I guess you could say. But I sent you guys out an email pretty much going over everything you would need to ever know about Dollars for Scholars. Pretty much kind of a recap of what I had said on this past Monday, but a little bit more clear. And so be sure to check that out. Me and Kevin did go out this weekend and go to a few businesses, and we were able to get kind of like an okay from probably about half the businesses, and they're like, we'll contact you and we'll have items for you guys to donate in your Silent Night auction. And we also got a $20 gift card from Target. So if you guys don't really know, if any of you guys have like hookups to any particular business, if you guys work somewhere, you just need to pick up these 4 items, which are a cover letter, kind of explaining the whole event, and then a green like contact information paper, little sheet, and an envelope for that to go in for them to send back. And then as well with this employee identification number sheet, which kind of lets them know how to like exempt certain items from their taxes and everything. So just those 4 things, and you can pick those up from the Center for Student Involvement. If you guys have any questions, if you'd like to get in those groups like I kind of asked you guys to do if you're able to, and just go out to certain areas. And also in the email, I put the areas that have already been gone to in our territory. So we went to like the Black Bob and 119th areas, so we got most of those stores over there, and there's so many more we can go to, and we have to get all the items in before April 12th, because that's the last day we can get items in. So we need to plan accordingly, and a week and a half before that, we need to really get out there. So I know Corey's scholarship and service and fundraising, committee is going to try and help me out a little bit with that. But any help from you senators for this, actually going out and soliciting, or at the actual event that will be held on April 15th would be highly encouraged and much appreciated. And Mindy has something to say.
If you do want to help out, you do decide to kind of take a place to go hit up to get donations, please let John or I know, just so we're not redoubling efforts, because we don't want 5 people to go to the Starbucks on 119th Street.
It'd be a little awkward. It's already awkward enough. So, but it's real fun, and it's something you can say, that you did for the Senate, and what's better than that? So that's all I had for Dollars for Scholars. I'll now open up Exec Board announcements, starting with Jeremy. Oh, sorry, real quick. Since Amir's gone, we're gonna omit the whole Constitution change. We'll get that next Monday. Sorry.
It's fine. PR, same day, same time, same place. That's it.
Okay. Election Committee will be meeting up 3 today to kind of just go over some of the other guidelines and how we'll go about getting the computer set up and everything. It shouldn't take too long, so you can just be there. And Interclub will meet next Monday. The Election Committee meets up in the CSI in Prom 309 in the conference room, and then Interclub is in Rainier Center in room 145, like usual, at 5 o'clock on Mondays, next Monday, every other Monday.
Budget Committee has their last request coming up this Thursday, or last request for now, in COM 102, 12 to 12:30 for Phi Theta Kappa. John.
Get back to me for a second. Through Inter Club, we kind of had a few clubs come in and talk about some of the events they have coming up. I know April 1st is Multicultural Night, and that is, I believe it starts at 6 o'clock and will be held up in Craig Auditorium and GEB 233. So that's going to be pretty neat. I know I'm most likely going to be going to that. And then student activities is holding I guess kind of they're having Andrew Jinkson, and he's going to talk about kind of the things he does. He's from in a TV show, and he was kind of like a reporter in a way, but kind of like a new age reporter going into particular people's lives and kind of seeing how they operate. It's kind of like a true life in a way. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that show, but he's actually going in and kind of like living their life as well with them. And I don't have the date for that, but it is coming up within like this week or
Friday. Next Friday.
Next Friday?
I mean, coming. Next Friday.
Okay. And they're also having a bone marrow what do you call it? Registry drive.
Yeah, they just swap your sheet, and then they put you on the list. You don't have to actually do a bone marrow test at that time, but if you're ever a match, they would then do a bone marrow test on you.
So yeah, that's all I have. Now I'll go back over to Mindy for the advisor announcements.
I just have one thing. The city of Overland Park is actually looking, or I should say, not the city, Johnson County is actually looking for a group of students from JCCC to serve on an advisory panel to see where they can take government in the next 30 years. And so the day they are looking at is the last Wednesday of the month, that is the 27th. It would be between 4 and 6 p.m. And I need, between 4 and 8 people who are interested. We thought this would be a great idea for you guys because not only are you representing Johnson County, but you're actually working with a government committee. So if you are interested or have more questions, please see me, and I can get you what little information I have, and then we can go from there as far as getting you guys signed up for this. Once you guys sign up for it, you would actually get more information from the committee itself.
Is that in April?
April.
I'll now open up for open forum. If anyone has really any serious questions, we will answer them right now.
Would it be possible to know what the constitutional amendment was? I know we're not voting on it.
We'll send it up to you.
Okay.
It's not an amendment. Last semester we started to correct the grammar, and it just got tabled, and so they're wanting to finish that. Yeah.
Okay, everyone sit still for a second. I now adjourn the meeting. Any motions to, I guess I can't do that yet. Any adoptions to adjourn the meeting? Motion. Okay. Okay. Good. Thank you guys.